The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Cristina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 219. I'm Joseph Cristina here with my co-host Trevor Current. How you doing, Trev?
I'm doing great. How are you, my friend?
Not bad, not bad. It's another week.
Yeah, it's another week.
Another photography goodness out there. A lot of news that kind of hit the wires this week. Kind of cool stuff, actually. Really cool stuff.
Yeah. Starting with the Fujifilm announces their X-T2 mirrorless camera.
Yeah. I know. I like the Fuji cameras. We actually interviewed with them. I would say, what was it? Probably about 3-4 years ago or so. I think that was the X Pro 1. I think it was when that was first being introduced. And
yeah, I think so. Right, we were at WPPI in Las Vegas.
Right.
That's right.
And it's just an impressive rangefinder camera. And then they came out, with the X-T1, which was, really, really nice. And now the X-T2. This looks really good. I mean, 24 megapixels. I mean, it kind of goes down the check in it. It like kind of check marks all the boxes is what it kind of looks like. Right. There's a lot of things that it's doing and it's doing it right. Number one, they have 4K video. We talked about this in the last video. Cameras really need to have video these days. Just having...
Well, that's what people want.
Yeah, that's what they want. Exactly. Yeah. Give them what they want. Obviously, you need to have, first and foremost, a really good camera on the back end. But you need to be able to do at least, at minimum, HD video, no matter what. That's just like you said. That's what people want. I mean, they're going to be, 4K in phones in a minute. And 8K is right around the corner. So, at least, 1080p. I mean, if that's not in there.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. I mean, we are a photography show, and primarily we talk about the still image. I mean, that's what us as photographers, our primary focus has always been in the past, the still image. Right. But, things are changing. Business is changing. And this hybrid technology, video, 360 photos, 360 videos. I mean, all of this is now, the technology is available.
Right.
It's out there. If one manufacturer doesn't supply it, another one will.
Yeah.
So if these new cameras coming on the market, whether they be mirrorless, DSLRs, point and shoots, whatever, if they don't check the boxes of the requirements that the consumers want, well, then they're going to be evaluated for the limitations they have and then decided whether or not that's the product for them. I mean, me personally, if I were to buy a camera today, whether it be a mirrorless or a DSLR or whatever, I would want all these boxes checked. I may not need all these check marks, but I mean, why would you pay the same money for a camera and not get all of the features, right?
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, it is the day of the hybrid photographer. I mean, I've been shooting since film way back in the day. I was working presses back when there was no Photoshop, there was no Illustrator, there was no nothing, and we were working on a Veritype machine, getting copy printed on an actual copy printing machine, and then going and doing actual quote unquote paste up and layout on plates, making plates. Anyways, the bottom line here is we have to move with the times, and the times are saying, well,
that's right.
Photography is fantastic, video is almost a requirement at this point, and then what's going to happen is, like you said, we're going to have 360, we're going to have VR. There's going to be the next great thing, and we have to keep up with it, or if not, we just kind of fall behind the times. Now, what this one is really interesting is, what I really like is it does 4K, but what it also does is it does uncompressed output of that HDMI signal. So what that means is instead of just having to record onto a CF card, let's say, you can actually push it straight into a data recorder and record just unbelievable, 8-bit 422 HDMI uncompressed video out, and now take that and be able to massage the heck out of it, color grade it, do all kinds of stuff, because at that point you're basically getting a raw photograph, but you're getting raw video. So that's really, really good. For the price range, to be able to use this as a really good high quality video camera that you can use in a studio. I mean, listen, the body is $1,600. That's amazing. You would never be able to do this. 4K, $1,600 uncompressed video. You know, have we used it yet? No, we haven't. But like I said, all those check marks are starting to be ticked with this camera. There's a lot of different things that go on in here that really look interesting.
Yeah, well, they have improved their autofocus points as well with this camera. So it's now giving you better control for your moving subjects. Again, going back to the video.
Right.
And this is really good. I know, obviously, focus is something that you're always checking into with all these different bodies and cameras that are coming out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Autofocus is imperative. And that was one of the problems with Canon all the time. They always had the just minimal autofocus points and cross type focusing points than any other camera, where Nikon always kind of made a step forward with this. And this is, they're kind of getting it. I mean, this was like over, I think it was like 60 times, 60 points or something, where it's really put together well. So I don't know. I'm really eager to see what this ends up looking like once it's, once we are able to bring one in to be able to test it out. Right now, we're testing some cameras in studio, and I'm going to be kind of reporting back to you guys probably within the next week or so. And so kind of stay tuned for that. But anyways, moving on. Now we have medium format, like we spoke of last week, but now we have medium format flying around in the sky, right, Trev?
I know. So Hasselblad is definitely making news. Yeah. They've obviously... Their mirrorless camera that came out, was announced a couple of weeks ago. People had their hands on it. It's all the rage. Now they come out with a partnership with DJI to create this flying medium format drone, which is just, crazy. It's it's just amazing. It's called the Matrix 600, the M600, and this is definitely more of your higher end drone. It's not the little, their lower end models, the little white ones, the tiny ones that have the little GoPro on or something. Right. This is a big drone. It's got multiple props. It's got the big rig underneath it to hold this big camera. Right. And it's a medium format camera, which is really nice.
And this goes back to what we were just saying with video and how everything is hybrid now. We know that when we went to I think it was WPP or Photo Plus Expo in New York a few years back, it was the very first time that we saw the introduction of drones. And no one knew what it was. Yep. There was one vendor there, and it came in, I think it was a Chinese vendor, and they introduced this thing. And we're looking at it, we're like, what the hell? And this thing's flying around, that's taking videos, or taking photos and whatnot. And we're like, geez, this is kind of amazing. Then all of a sudden, it just went, exponential. It just went off the. Once again, most photographers out there are either going to Costco and buying a small drone, testing it out, seeing if you like it, seeing if you can sell the pictures, maybe use it for your real estate stuff or whatever you want to do, and then they'll go buy a more high-end piece of gear back into this drone type of photography. So this is just taking it to the next level. We're looking at about $4,600. So it's not cheap, but once again, you're getting medium format flying in the air. So you can just imagine what this thing will capture, right?
Oh, yeah. Amazing stills. But obviously there's all kinds of restrictions and stuff going on with drones. Now they're doing licensing. You have to be certified, all this stuff. You have your approvals for commercial use. And if you're making an investment like this into equipment, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to use it for your business. Don't just get it thinking that you're going to be able to roll with it, because you may not get the certifications that you need that are required for business. Yeah. So you really need to do all your homework before making this investment. But for those who can get into it, if you've got the need for medium format flying overhead, this could be really a great solution. Yeah,
it's a nice partnership between DJI and Hasselblad. DJI, I think, is a part owner of Hasselblad as of like a year or two ago, whatever it is, and we never saw anything transpire after this. I wouldn't call it a merger, but let's just make believe. Let's call it a merger. And this is the actual first toy or tech, that we can see from that marrying between the DJI people and Hasselblad together. So, Hasselblad is just an eclectic bunch now. We talked about last week, Sony sensors in these things. We're talking, they're not, Nikon flash system on them. The one thing I have to say about Hasselblad, they know what they do well, and they keep doing it well, and they don't try to reinvent the wheel. I like that. I like that at all. Know where you're deficient and know where you do really well, and then allow others to come in to make something that's great. The problem always been with Hasselblad is they're extremely expensive. But like I've said many times in the past, if I'm shooting a fashion shoot, or if I'm doing a model or something that's really important, it's magazine work, I'm going to bring in Hassies, because I know that when I go out there, I'm going to be able to produce unbelievable images that will be able to, in post-production, mush and meld around and push and pull and whatever I need to do, because I have a ton of megapixels, and I know that the equipment's going to simply work. I'm not going to have any kind of problems. I don't need to rent in 3 because one's going to go down or something. So it's just quality, quality. So it kind of is what it is.
Well, and what I like about Hasselblad as a company, though, is the company itself is evolving. They were medium format, old school for the longest time, and they kind of stayed on that same path for a very, very long time. And yes, while their product is great quality, the demand for that high-end product is limited, right? I mean, it's not for everyone, both financially and out of necessity. It's, not everybody needs that. They understand that, and in their kind of their rebuild of their company, in this partnership with DJI, and the idea that they went into a mirrorless camera, but not just some garbage, whatever, this is good enough type of thing. Like, they really put the effort in the design and checking all those boxes, as we say, into the development of that camera. Really shows the evolution of the company, that they're trying to stay relevant in today's changing technology times. And that, to me, is very important. I mean, we know Sony's doing it. They're evolving in the mirrorless direction as well. I'm waiting to see what Canon and Nikon do now. I mean, they obviously great products from all the companies. But how are they going to evolve to stay relevant in changing times? That's what excites me. That's what I'm hoping to see, some really great stuff.
The idea of innovation in comparison to iteration, and there's a lot of these companies that are just simply iterating instead of innovating. But anyways, guys, we have more for you on the backside of this break, so just hang in there. We'll be right back. The 3-in-1 photo reference tool, featuring the revolutionary dual access color control, is a versatile all-in-one color reference accessory designed to help photographer and videographer dial in white balance, exposure, and color temperature. The PRT features a large gray card with center target, making autofocus lockup easy while providing fast temperature neutralization in camera or in post-production. A 12-step exposure gradient helps produce perfect tonal reproduction, balancing highlights with deep, rich blacks. Most photographers color balance by eye, using the temperature slider to warm or cool an image. This method delivers inconsistent and inaccurate results. The backside of the PRT features our dual-access color control system, which addresses this problem. With a single click, this system will automatically adjust color temperature and apply color tint to produce optimal and repeatable results for beautiful photos every time. From in-camera to post-production, the 3-in-1 photo reference tool helps push your creativity to the next level, providing complete color control over all your imaging creations. Grab one from your local or online camera dealer, or visit our website at jcristina.com.
All right, we're back. And, I don't think we can go a week without talking about Sony, right? I mean, I think
it seems that way.
I think they've really, really been in the news lately. And I know we probably sound like Sony fanboys all the time just because we're talking about them a lot. But, as with any company that's making waves, right? I mean, they get talked about. That's the whole point of it. And they just announced a new radio-controlled lighting system, i.e. like a Pocket Wizard setup. Your transmitter, your receiver. It works with their alpha interchangeable lens cameras, the mirrorless, I'm assuming their DSLRs as well, and their flashes. And, You know, you've got your normal transmitter receiver set up, you know, pretty nice, but also pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you have your receiver and you have your trigger, just like a Pocket Wizard, like you're saying. Yep. You know, the thing is you're looking at $465 for, you know, when you convert it from yen or whatever it is. I think it's $465 for the transmitter, and the receivers are like $265.
I know.
So you're looking at, you know, a lot of money.
Yeah, that's significant.
Maybe, you know, close to $700 for just a single setup. You know, for me, I have a lot of these. I have Pocket Wizards personally, but I have a lot of them. So this is, you know, I would say pretty close to same price, a little bit more, you know, in line with Pocket Wizard. There's so many cheaper alternatives that you can find these days on eBay, all over the place, on Amazon. And the thing is, if you're just starting photography, this is not where you want to be.
No.
This is just too, you know, you want something that works. You know, you don't want it so cheap that it's disposable and you're constantly throwing them out. Or if you're doing a high-end job, you don't want something to go bad.
Right.
So don't get me wrong here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good to have the good
quality.
equipment.
Yeah.
But, you know, at this, you know, you need to kind of think about where you want to put all of your nuts, so to speak. You know, what basket. For me, the very first and foremost is a really good set of lenses. And second to that would be a body, and then all of your other accessories would be tertiary off of that. So, but it definitely looks really good. I mean, you figure on, guys, this will be released right around September, so only a couple of months away, and you'll be able to get your hands on them. So we'll see what ends up happening with these. So, but anyways, what I'm really excited about is, you know, I've been a Canon shooter for many years. I've shot all kinds of cameras, and I'm always shooting different cameras, especially for testing and as well as shooting different types of shoots. And, you know, there's always a camera that's specific to a specific job. Whatever it is, there's always the best camera, the best body for a specific job.
Right.
So I'll rent in a lot, but most of my gear is Canon gear. I've, you know, tens of thousands of dollars worth of Canon gear, from lenses to everything. So when I saw that finally in the rumors, the Canon 5D Mark IV was right around the corner, I was getting excited because now we're starting to get more of the what it comes with. You know, the whole breakdown on the spec sheet is becoming more honed in to really what will be there. And one of the things that we talked about was video. And we said that if for some reason, you know, Canon does not get 4K and they go and they stick in regular, you know, we've talked about this in the past, we stick, you know, 1080p on the brand new lines of cameras, they're just going to really fall behind the eight ball, especially to everybody else in the market, Sony, Panasonic, now Fuji, everybody. So it looks like this 5D Mark IV is really looking sweet. There's a lot of stuff in here that looks good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is a rumored spec list. I mean, it's coming from Canon Rumors over there.
Right.
They are a pretty reliable source. They usually seem to have their fingers and stuff inside of other people's offices here, and I don't know, their listening devices or something. I don't know. Yeah. But they've been fairly right on throughout, you know, all of their rumors and stuff that they announce. And they're saying it 28 megapixel with a Digix 7 processor, 9 frames per second, 4K video. 4K video. Okay, so surprising, right? I mean, we figured, you know, Canon, they've always slow to make changes here. I'm glad to see 4K, you know, just because. Not necessarily because everybody needs it, but just because the technology is available and they're able to put it in there, hopefully successfully, rather than just, you know, full 1080p.
You know, it's relevance, Trev. It's relevance. How relevant do you want to remain? We've said it before. Sony's eating Nikon and Canon's lunch. They're just getting
market,
it in the mirrorless market. It's just they're just killing it. So, you know, relevance.
That's
I mean, they had to put together 4K. So if for some reason this rumor is incorrect and they end up with 1080p, I'll just be floored. Now, what is interesting in there is you have GPS. Never even heard of that on it. It's just Wi-Fi, GPS built in. And now hold on, 61 points of autofocus for Canon. That sounds like Nikon numbers. 41 points of cross type. That's craziness. This is, you know, you're talking crazy. Then
I know. It is crazy talk. I know. I mean, well, here we go to the box checking again. I mean, this, you know, it seems like Canon has been paying attention on this, you know, model release. And if these are accurate specs, I mean, this is awesome. You know, I'm glad to see that they're incorporating this technology, touchscreen as well.
Right.
You know, I mean, all of these types of new technologies actually being incorporated in the next iteration of these, you know, of this product line, the 5D product line, is huge. I mean, there's a lot of people shooting these 5Ds, all the way from the original 5D all the way up to the Mark III. And it's a very popular line for them. It's right at that professional level without being over the top cost-wise. It's definitely a higher level than what you're getting out of the Rebel line. So it does set, equipment-wise, it does set you above the other products. I really do like that. They're saying reduced weight, which is always nice, right? I mean, these can get heavy, especially when you throw a grip and a big lens on them. This is really good. And they're talking a price of $3,600, which is in the ballpark of what they have been releasing. Absolutely. 3,600
is a good number. You know, I've had the 5D, the original 5D Mark 1, you know, 5D Mark 2, 5D, and straight through. I like the 5Ds. I also shoot the 1D. I have, like I've talked about in the past, I have the original 1D that was over $8,000. Now you can get the 1Ds for probably about $6K, but that is the difference where you got $6,000 for quote unquote full out professional camera compared to the 5D, which I'd say is professional, but it's a little bit, you know, it's half the price, let's just say. But it is a really good camera. And really where you see the difference, guys, and I don't know if you've never shot a 1D or a high-end $6,000 camera compared to, let's say, this camera, a 5D Mark II, a 5D Mark III, or anything like this, the difference is how many times you can click that shutter before you're sending it in for maintenance. The difference is how, you know, there's a lot of these type of things that go into these cameras that you just don't think about until you use them and you're really beating the hell out of them. You know, if you're in the field and you're working hard and you're getting photos, you're just, you know, doing a ton. Like for me, sometimes I'll hit anywhere from 500,000 to 700,000 photographs a year. That's a lot. That's a lot on these shutters, and I'm sending the cameras back all the time for new you know, shutters. So it's just something to think about. Well, and that's where having a good manufacturer with a good service plan is important. Exactly. You know, Canon has their professional service program. Which, you know, if you're a pro shooter and you're relying on this equipment for your daily bread and butter here, you know, you need to know that this stuff is going to work. And if it doesn't work, if it breaks, that you can either get a loaner or that you're going to get this stuff fixed in a timely manner. And it's critical when it comes to, you know, being a professional. Yeah, you know, absolutely. If you're a hobby shooter and you want to go with high-end equipment and you can afford some downtime, so be it. You know, absolutely. Then it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, we've interviewed with companies that have just said, straight out, no, we do not have any type of program that we can take your camera lenses in and give you a loaner for it. And that for me it's just a no-go. I can't. It's a deal breaker. Just like you said, if I'm shooting, I'm on location. Forget about if I'm in studio. In studio, I got so many lenses, I could figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm going on location, let's say I'm traveling out of the country, if I'm traveling out of state somewhere and I have a 2-day shoot or a 3-day shoot, I need to know that, my lens just blew up, I dropped it or who knows what happened. I can call in CPS, the Canon pros, and have them send me one overnight. I mean, that's the difference between professional and non-professional as far as for us. That is security. And that's, as a pro, is what you need when you're doing these high-end, shoots where they're paying paying you tens of thousands of dollars to do a shoot, never mind doing all the editing and putting it all together, but just to be there and to do the shoot, you need to make sure that not only do you have duplicates of everything, but you also need to have a company that can stand behind you, or at least a service program that will stand behind you.
I mean, one saving grace that we have today is the rental houses.
Yeah.
You know, we know that like ATS rentals and, you know, maybe Borrow Lenses or some of these other guys, they can get us the equipment if we need it in that pinch. You know, we may pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, we may pay for that overnight shipping, but you know what? We can get it. And if you're on location, like you said, you're in another country, you know, you're too far from the studio to grab another lens. You know, knowing that somebody can overnight you something is really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So anyways, we need to get out of here. We're going to start seeing how we can just kind of concise and just shrink up the shows to be a little bit tighter and a little bit shorter, if possible, right? We've been kind of saying this for a long time and we just never do it. And we're going to try, guys. We're going to try cutting them down to, if we can, 20, 25 minutes, something like that, and try not to go over that 30 mark. We'll see.
Yeah,
no promises, though. No promises.
That's right. All right, man, let's get out of here. So if our viewers and listeners want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
All right, guys, find me over on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Cristina, and that's Cristina with no H.
That's right. And you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
All right, guys, you can find all of the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Cristina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.